Shalom, brothers and sisters in Christ. Here we are, Friday already, last day of the week for many that have the weekend off. But for those that continue to work, it's just a normal way. You know, so many people, thank God it's Friday. We should wake up on a Monday morning, say, thank God it's Monday, because every day with God is His day. Doesn't matter whether it's a Monday, a Tuesday, whatever day of the week. If we are there with the excitement of Christ in us, every single day is there to rejoice. And we continue to really think about the requirements that God has for us. You know, we've read Deuteronomy 10, verse 12 and 13 quite a few times now. It's talking about the fear of God, to walk in His ways, to love God, to serve Him with all your heart, all your soul. Yeah? And today we're going to look at the other ones. Yeah? What are the other ones? The other ones are talking about the commandments, keeping His commandments and keeping His statutes. Now, we need to understand that commandments, statutes, law, they're all the same. They all talk about the same things. So over the next 2 days, I've combined the last two requirements in Deuteronomy 10, verse 12 and 13. And I'm talking about the commandments and I'm talking about the statutes. My first question to you is, what is it you think about when you hear the word commandments? And you probably think about the 10 commandments in the Old Testament as written in Exodus chapter 20, of which the very first one is, "Thou shalt have no other God before me or beside me." And it goes on, not to have any image of God, and so forth and so on. Or you're referring to Jesus' answer when He was asked, and He said, well, number one is love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength. And the second one is to love your neighbor as yourself. And you'll be right. Those are the commandments. You know, the 10 commandments that's in Exodus chapter 20, or the 2 commandments, which is a conclusion of Exodus chapter 20, or the 10 commandments that are written in Exodus 20 in just the form of 2. Yeah, to love God, and we talked about that the other day as well. But actually, there are a lot more commandments. Let me ask you this one question, very simple question. What was the very first commandment that God gave? You know, He gave this commandment even before the law was given. Yeah? Before the law was even prepared by Moses, this commandment had already been given in the Bible, it says. And in order to understand what the very first commandment is, we have to go back to Genesis chapter 1. Yes, Genesis chapter 1, before the 10 commandments, there was already a commandment. And it is in Genesis chapter 1 and verse 28. And this is after God created the man in His image, in His likeness. Yeah. And it says in verse 28, then God blessed them and God said to them, male and female. Yeah, not male and male, female and female. No, male and female. And He said to them, be fruitful and multiply. Fill the earth and subdue it. Have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over every living thing that moves on the earth. Interesting, isn't it? That even before the 10 commandments was there, God had already given one commandment. And that is to be fruitful and to multiply and to fill the earth and to subdue it and have dominion. In other words, rule over it. Well, we're more scared of a cockroach than we are of God. Are we really keeping His commandments? Are we living in obedience to what He tells us? I believe the number one requirement of a follower of Christ is to obey the commandments. Well, may God bless you. May He shine His face upon you. Have a blessed day. And remember, rejoice in the Lord always.